I wanted to talk briefly about what Hideo Kojima is working on, right? So, if you didn't know,
My boy.
A Death Stranding anime is in the works. Kojima confirms, right? So, while discussing the upcoming live action Death Stranding movie, Kojima said he wanted to make a version of a Death Stranding story that is only possible in cinema and that it should be accomplished enough to win respected film awards. Which we know he's a film buff because he posts all over his social media, film titles, etc. I'm currently working with A24 on a live action film adaptation of Death Stranding. Uh, so when it comes to adapting games into visual medias, there are works like The Last of Us, which stays true to the original storyline, and films like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which are more a service to fans of the game. While these works have their own merits, as a film enthusiast, I want to pursue the expressive potential of cinema. That's dope. I aim to create a Death Stranding that can only be realized through film, one that could win awards at festivals like Cannes, Venice, and in fact, we are also currently working on an anime adaptation. That's crazy. So he had previously mentioned anime as potential future medium for Death Stranding in an interview with Variety. To strengthen our IP, we're doing a sequel, and this is a game, right? So we're doing Death Stranding 2. He told publication in September 2024. So look, he's willing to take Death Stranding to the limits. Long story short, so
Yeah.
which I think is cool. I think that here's a couple things that off the top of my head that I know Kojima is working on. Death Stranding 2, right? And then he has that collaboration with Jordan Peele, which is he's always been a fan of cinema. He has a collaboration with Jordan Peele that we saw a trailer for that we have no more information on. We know it's some sort of it's going to have a horror element to it. And then
Yeah.
he is working on now an anime and a live action of Death Stranding. The story of Death Stranding, which Chandler, I want you to speak more about because you've actually beat the game. I've played it. Haven't beat it yet, but just because I don't have time. It's such a long game and it is different, but it's an acquired taste. But
Yeah.
it's irregardless of all that, you can tell it's a piece of art. And the lore is deep, and the cinematic quality of it is very very apparent. So I'm excited to see what he does with this. I'm glad that he's pushing his IPs to the max when it comes to medium. And so I'm curious about what you think, Chandler, as a fan of the series, etc.
So first off, I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan. Thank you, David. I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan. He actually is. I know you mentioned like what he's been working on that you know of. He actually is working on a third game right
What?
now. Which, yeah, he's actually so. It's speculative. It's not like a big old official announcement or anything like that. But it is like if you know Hideo Kojima, you know for a fact that there is like secret game that he's making, and a lot of people are thinking it's going to be another stealth game, kind of like the Metal Gear series,
Uh huh.
which got a lot of people excited and whatnot. And there was even like a trailer for like his future endeavors with like creating like exciting games and whatnot. And it's like a really cool shot where it's on a drone. I need to send you guys the video so you guys can see.
Hmm.
But it's like on a drone and it's pulling out of like this like film studio and whatnot. And it's like showing like the studio lot and everything. And then once you get to like the entrance, I believe it's the entrance or the gate, there's like a name that's like, unheard of. It's very mysterious, and people are thinking like this is either like the project title, the official title for another game, or it's like a secret title that is not the official title, but it's like code name for what he's making
Yeah.
next. That is going to be more action stealth ish, kind of like the Metal Gear games,
Sure.
which that's what he's mainly known for, other than like Death Stranding. Like the Metal Gear games are like his like magnus opus
Uh huh.
essentially. But he is working on like a third game as well as like a second Death Stranding, and then that Jordan Peele game, which is going to be like a hybrid, super realistic looking horror experience, which
Hmm.
I'm excited for, and it's with Jordan Peele. I mean,
Right.
come on, like, nope, Get Out. I wasn't a big fan of Us. I don't know if like any of y'all were a fan of Us,
I
but
agree. Actually.
I was just not a fan of that. But I like Jordan Peele. Hopefully he's not watching this podcast.
Yeah,
But
because if Jordan Peele wants to sponsor your movie, I'm sure you'd take it, right?
Yeah, no, I'll be like, hey
Same
man,
here.
I know you like interesting, stories and whatnot, specifically horror based, but hey, I got this script idea that I need you to read, dog. Um, but not getting off topic. But yeah, no, Death Stranding, like, and this was a game that he developed after he essentially parted ways, and there's a lot of controversy with this, and there's a lot of story with Konami, which, if we're talking about like a studio with a lot of bad rap, Konami has that too, but
Uh-huh.
they've also, they release mega hits. They released the Metal Gear games. They released Castlevania, Sekuden. They released, like, they actually published, like, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're the biggest publisher of, like,
Did not
a
know that.
trading card
Wow.
game. Yeah, yeah, of a trading card game, other than, like, Wizards of the Coast with Magic the Gathering. So yeah, and Pokemon, of course. Those are like the top three. But yeah, they publish, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and the Yu-Gi-Oh video games and
Hmm.
whatnot. And they have like a bunch of other like franchises that they have. I think they also did Ape Escape. I might be wrong about that, but I think they did Ape Escape too. But yeah, they have like a bunch of games that they've published or helped developed internally or like externally with like
Hmm.
third party developers and whatnot. But yeah, Death Stranding is the game that he did right after he was done making PT, which that's a legacy on its own.
Hmm.
But Death Stranding is like very, unique. And you did say something that I do agree with you. He is like, his games are acquired taste for a lot of people
They
to like
are.
get into and
Yeah.
whatnot. Not everybody's gonna like them, but I love them, and a lot of people else really enjoys them too. And it really likes Hideo Kojima as that auteur, like creative director for video games. But
For me,
yeah,
I actually
it's
think that Death Stranding, because as a gamer, I like gaming is anywhere from 30 to 60 hour commitment depending on who's making the game, and
yeah,
sometimes even shorter, of course. But I mean, like, usually that's what we're looking at for the big AAA titles. And so for me, it's like I think a movie or anime is most first priority being movie because I love movies. But I think movie, in terms of medium for Death Stranding, is going to be where I fall in love with it, because Death Stranding as a concept is really cool, and I love how creative it is. It's so vividly
yeah,
original, and I think that, to me, that sounds like something I could dig my teeth into. I just don't have time to trek around America holding backpacks for 60 hours, and that's not a criticism. It's more so just like, if I'm playing a game, I want it to be. I have to have stimulation for a lot of it, because so much time, and like. But for a movie, though, it's like I can go get my 2 or 3 hours in, and I would love if you made a 3 hour movie. By the way, I love 3 hour movies. But get in
me
there,
too.
watch that movie, get into the lore of it all, see what the see what so because the game is like, the interactive aspects of it are what make it a game, right? Walking and driving and fighting, etc., and hiding, stealth, etc. But the story elements is like the meat and potatoes. So if he can, like, bring that all into one cohesive 2 or 3 hour movie, or over a 10 episode anime, like that, to me sounds like something that I can really dig my teeth into. And so for other people who are even less gamers than I'm a gamer, but like some people don't play at all, and it's like, for those people, they deserve to see and taste, and to be in this world with that he has created. Just like fans of the Last of Us TV show, or just like fans of, I won't say Super Mario because everyone knows that,
Yeah,
we had. I mean, there's even Assassin's Creed. I mean, look, those movies suck, but I feel like if someone made a good movie of Assassin's Creed, it's like such a very good. It's a very good lore. I mean, it is very good lore. I don't know why I was speaking like a 13-year-old. It's very good lore. It's very very fun, and so I really, I know some people really feel they have mixed feelings on adaptations, and I do too, because they've sucked, and a lot of times, way more times than they've been good. But I think people don't give enough credit to games in terms of being artistic, and I think that it actually might be the highest form of art that we have now, because of, it's like a painting. The reason I say that is because a painting is like from scratch. A lot of times they sit in front of something and they paint it, but a lot of people are just sitting in the room and they paint it from scratch. A game is that, but with every medium, audio, music, everything from the textures, the imperfections, the character designs, the acting, it's everything. That when Chris said it perfect when he said, "I can't even wrap my head around making a game." Like, we make movies, and we take a camera and we shoot what we see in front of us, or what we set up in front of us, or a location that we built in front of us. But a game is like everything from it's like taking something at an atomic level and then building it into something, that we can consume. The content like that is I think it might be the highest form of art that hasn't gotten enough praise yet. And so I hope that Kojima's like, yo, let's move it forward. Let's milk this in terms of medium. Let's put it in the game. Let's put it in an anime. Let's put it in a movie. And I love that he's doing that. And I feel like more people should do it. And I'm glad that even though I didn't like The Last of Us Season 2 overall, I'm glad that Neil Druckmann is doing it as well. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into that, but the first episode was great. The rest of the season was odd. It was oddly.
It was
I feel like we can do a whole podcast about that.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to for our next episode, bros. I'm tempted to put that as our next just special segment where we just talk about The Last of Us.
Well, hey, if you guys are still,
man.
if you guys are down, like maybe we do like a special shorter episode and we talk about The Last of Us Season 2 next week. If you guys are down.
Yeah,
Sweet.
oh, I'm down for that. Yeah,
Cool.
we
We'll
can
talk
do
about
that. Honestly, let's do that. I have so many opinions about that whole season 2 situation, and just me and Chris have talked about it. I feel like way more, David. I feel like me and Chris have talked about it way more. But